Welcome to the Heal Yourself podcast, where we dive deep into all things healing. I'm Denise, a speech language pathologist and a self love coach for adults and teens.
And I'm Kira, a traditional naturopath and functional nutritionist, and we're here to guide you through the transformative process of healing your body, mind, and soul.
From the latest in functional medicine to nurturing your relationship with yourself, healing trauma, and even transforming your money story, we're here to empower you with the knowledge and tools to create lasting change.
So whether you're looking to heal physically, emotionally, or spiritually, join us as we explore the many paths to wholeness and wellness. Hey everyone, welcome back to another episode of Heal Yourself podcast. Today, Denise and I are talking about what it feels like when everything is falling apart, which I'm sure many can relate to that.
Well, yeah, because, things falling apart is part of life.
Yeah. It's like, people always say, there's a saying, but it's like, it keeps coming, right? It's like, oh, it's not just this one little thing. It's like, here, I'm just going to dump shit all over you.
Yeah.
The only way to explain it.
It's gonna keep getting dumped unless we address it.
Yes.
Right? So if the shit keeps falling apart and it's the same shit, it's really an indication to really look at the shit and then dig deep and then get the gold. Because, and I've told you that many times, and I don't even know, but it's a quote that I created that I came up the magic really happens also in the poo-poo situations. I know poop is poop and it's disgusting. Ugh, no one wants to dig deep in it and no one wants to get a shovel and let's go. However, if you truly, truly, truly want to change and just attract different experiences in your life, then you need to be willing to dig through the messiness and then get the beauty out.
Yeah, because that's the thing. We're all going to have times in our life where it's like, oh my gosh, I feel like everything's falling apart, or it's too hard, or there's too much going on, or this one thing happened and then my car blew out and then this happened and then this happened. It's like, okay, that's life. It's what we signed up for, right? We're here for a reason. But you can't freeze. You can't just ignore it. Otherwise, more shit's going to come, So you have to be ready, like you said, to dig into it a little bit. And I think that's where people get stuck. And Denise and I always chat before, you had some great thoughts around it of people want the quick thing. They're not ready to do this work, or they don't want to do this work because it's painful.
It is painful. It is painful because no one wants to look at messiness and no one wants to look at chaos and no one wants to, I don't want to say no one, but a lot of people don't want to. That's why we do have a lot of, people that are addicted to pain pills or to popping pills, people that are addicted to alcohol or gambling, other addictions. I don't want to just name the pills and stuff. It could be the shopping, the whatever. That's why you have addictions, because what we're trying to do is we're trying to get away from the pain, that experience is bringing. However, it is through the pain, it is through the chaos and the messiness and the ugliness that you find the beauty and the rainbow. You truly find yourself. And I have to go back to Joe Dispenza. I don't know if you've read his book or done his books or done his meditations, but he always talks about when you really want to change areas of your life, you gotta also forget that familiar self, right? Yeah. Because the familiar self is what created or who created the things and the experiences or continue to create the same experiences over and over again. You got to step away from the familiar self and with the baby steps, start with the new self in order to little by little change. I know I'm talking a little bit more, but I have to say something that I just remembered. I told my son the other day, literally a few days ago, because my son is 19 and he has big, big goals and stuff like that. However, he also got a dog and he was taking care of the dog at the beginning. And then, he slacked because mom and dad and he take care of the dog. And, I had to have this really honest conversation, and it was really calm and peaceful. No reprimandation, nothing, no reprimanding him or anything. And I said, the first 2 weeks you were great, da da da. However, I was like, Gio, you have big goals, big dreams. Those big goals don't get achieved just like this. Those big
Mm-hmm.
goals gets achieved by folding your laundry, right? By making your bed, by getting up a little bit earlier so you can walk your dog, take care of him before you go to work, before you're there, a little bit before 8 o'clock, because you're the son's business, you're the business owner's son. So you gotta, set a good example. And but then like these big dreams, they're not just gonna happen. Oh, just all of a sudden I'm gonna wake up, oh, my big dreams are happening. They don't
Yeah.
happen that way. You gotta start with the baby steps. So that's really important. I don't know. I went off tangent, but
No,
yeah.
but it's good. It's baby steps because sometimes people hear this conversation, they're like, well, what do you mean I have to dig through the shit? Like, what does that even look like? And I think a big piece of it, and this one's going to hurt for many listening, but it's looking in the mirror because the people that you attract into your life are a reflection of you, good or bad traits, and then everything in your environment is going to be a reflection of you. Now, that doesn't mean that something traumatic happens to you, like, oh, I attracted that back to me. That's something different. Um, but if you're getting into chaos, so like right now, I'm not going to go into it because I'm not sure who's listening to this podcast. But my family is here and it's been a lot. And there's been some arguments and it has forced me to almost go back to moments of my childhood.
Mhm.
Now, could I ignore this and argue and get back into acting like I'm a teenager? Sure. I don't want to. I'm someone in my 40s and I refuse to repeat those patterns and to do that same thing with my son. So here I am messaging poor Denise off and on
Don't
throughout the
say that.
days
I love those messages.
because I'm like, I know, like, I'm seeing a mirror, like, I'm seeing things, I'm seeing the way I used to show up. I don't want to do this anymore. I'm looking for generational things. Like, there are a lot of little baby steps now, guys. I don't expect you all to just be like, yes, I'm going to suddenly, when my life goes into chaos, I'm going to dig into generational trauma and I'm going to look in the mirror and I'm going to do this. I've been at this for a while, so I kind of know where to guide
I
myself.
mean, we've been on this journey since 2018,
Yeah,
Bev.
it's been a
So,
long time.
yeah.
But my point is, I'm still here. Like we always say this, the healing journey does not end. You have to just start to do some digging. And for me, it was simply starting with like, okay, how can I show up differently? Where am I getting into my emotions? Where can I change my interpretations? Do I need to address the generational pattern? So for those that are interested, because I was talking to Denise about this. Mark Wolin's It Didn't Start With You. Highly recommend that if you recognize things in yourself that parents, grandparents, great grandparents, whatever, somebody had.
I know.
There's a lot, but I think it's important to remember that chaos is happening for a reason. And sometimes it just looks like, oh my gosh, everything's ruined. There's too much going on. I'm overwhelmed. I'm never going to get through this. And you're like barely keeping your head above water. But in reality, that destruction is serving you. Like it leads to something sacred or sacred reconstruction, in my opinion.
Yes. And I'm going to agree with you and add to that that whatever is going on, and I just, I went through it and I'll talk about it real quickly as
Mm-hmm.
well. However, you're seeing this right now, you're viewing it as an opportunity instead of like going and complaining, oh my
Yeah,
goodness,
woe is me. Yeah,
here.
yeah.
Oh, poor me. They do this to me. They did da do, ba ba ba, complain, 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 whine, whine, whine. What are you doing when you're complaining and whining and pointing fingers and
You're
blaming them?
attracting more of it for one.
Exactly. The same experiences are going to repeat. However, when you look in the mirror and you're like, okay, and then you start, how do you say, like, not reverse engineering, but you start like,
Peeling back the layer and looking at like how am I showing up in this relationship? How is
yes,
this chaos partly my responsibility, right? Because we're 100% responsible for our lives. I can't control other things outside of me. But yeah, it's like, okay, instead of going into blame mode and this happened and this, where did I show up in this? How
yeah.
do I want to show up? So what needs to change?
Exactly. And how am I going to show up
Hmm.
as my not familiar self, right? Because
Yep.
if you keep showing up as a familiar self that created everything that you're going through, then everything that you're going through is going to continue to repeat. And then we're going to look and say, this is fate, this is my destiny,
Hmm.
this is my BS, this is blah, blah, blah. but it doesn't have to be that way. It's just, but again, though, I did tell you something because you said, I did the screaming, the whatever, right? So, before I said that, I was like, give yourself permission to throw
Yeah.
the baby tantrum, to throw the toddler tantrum, the teenage tantrum, whatever you call it, whatever area in your life you had to tantrum, because you want to validate that inner child. You're angry, you're upset, scream, right? So you screamed in your car. Some people maybe go take a walk, or I don't know if they have a punching bag in the garage, whatever it is. To let it out, like move those emotions, go back to the emotions
Yep.
episode.
You have to move the emotions. That's key.
Yes. And then, you did your walk, you calmed yourself down, and then you started coaching yourself,
Hmm.
right? You started talking to yourself. You start like your higher self, your better version of you started calming down the inner self, right?
Yeah.
And your situation is, I know it's a little bit, because being with your family is like really difficult because, as you know, Kira, but not our listeners, in 21, when we remodeled the house, I lived with my parents
Hmm.
for a year. I lived with them and it's their home, right? So, and it's hard, like just like living with your parents and you see everything of like, oh my goodness, no wonder I do this, I react this way, this, that, whatever. However, you can see it as a nuisance, like, fuck, I'm with my parents. What the heck? Oh, misery, misery, misery. Or you can see it as a learning opportunity.
Hmm.
What else can, and how can I change so I don't repeat anymore
Yep.
and my children do not repeat? So that's really important too. And the coaching yourself is literally just talking to yourself, like hugging yourself when you need to,
Mhm.
telling your inner child, like, I hear you, baby girl. Like, I'm here for you. Cry it out. Cry it out. Cry it out. So, you know,
And that's the thing. So you said something there. I think people miss a step, right? It's like either they get stuck in the emotions of like, I'm just going to stay here in the anger and it becomes unhealthy, and then leads to more chaos, or they ignore the emotions, right? They don't move it. They think, oh my gosh, anger is an unsafe emotion. And Denise and I have talked about this. It is a
Mhm.
healthy emotion. We are supposed to feel this broad spectrum of emotions. It's okay to feel anger, resentment, frustration, whatever. But then you have to move into the coaching of, okay, again, how am I showing up? What do I want to change? How could we have done things differently? How can I approach this different? And so if we go straight to coaching and we don't get the emotions out, you know what I mean? So we can't miss one of these. They
No,
both have to play a role when you feel like everything's falling apart.
yes, absolutely. Absolutely. Because if you're not moving the emotions, you are going to resort to
Hmm.
to the outside things that are going to calm you down because you got it. The emotions are there, they're being stored. We got to move them.
Yeah.
You need to move them in a safe way. And another thing I also want to address too is that when you have grown up or not even, let's say you grew up perfect, but then you have a dysregulated nervous system, you do have shitty shit going on. The thing is, you also got to coach and teach your body to be safe in the new
Yep.
experiences. So after coaching yourself, you just remind and tell your body you are safe right now. You're safe, right? Feel safe to do this. So another thing like I'm working on right now is eating more, you know.
Yes.
I don't know where it came from. It could be a learned behavior, or it could be maybe due to the war. Even though we didn't have lack of food, I grew up with abundance of food, but I really don't know. Maybe it's the mentality of that
Mhm.
region or something. I don't know. I just don't eat. I just literally eat to survive, and so I don't faint. But then right now, and I'm like, well, this is my familiar self now. And I do understand that I am depleting my body of the important nutrients. And even though right now I feel fine, in 10 years I may not to, right?
Yeah.
Because, the choices that you make lead to the life that you lead.
Hmm.
So like right now, even though sometimes I do not feel like eating, I'm reminding my body you are safe to eat. Right. So I'm telling my body you're safe to eat because I really don't know like where if it's a learned behavior, I'm also telling my body. And even if it's just kind of like something, and I really don't know where it came from, to be honest with you.
And
And
sometimes that's okay. I think that's
yeah,
important to
and
point out.
it's okay
Hmm.
because now I'm just doing something about it. I'm doing
Yep.
something that is not with my familiar self. However, I do know that if I don't remind my body that I'm safe, it's still in the don't eat.
Yeah.
So I had to I always have to give myself some time. Like, for example, and I've never done that before, I swear. And yesterday, that's a big win I'm going to talk about. So, FYI, for those listening, I can go like from morning until 5 or 6 o'clock without eating.
I would die.
Fine. And I'll be fine. I mean, I'll probably, of course, drinking water and I can,
Hmm.
then just only one cup of coffee. It's not like I'm drinking coffee all the time, right? But that's no bueno. However, so yeah, and usually when I'm working, when I'm focusing on something, forget eating. I don't even think about it. It doesn't even cross my mind. There's no hunger that's
Hmm.
so yesterday I was working at home and then I picked up Avery and I had to, drop her off at dance and then go see my client. I was like, shit, I didn't eat. My familiar self would have like, okay, fuck it, just go do your thing. And when you come back, but then guess what? I'm coming back at 6 o'clock home after
Mm.
I had two clients. I'm gonna be grumpy as fuck and I'm not going to be kind and nice because understandably
Hmm.
so, anything in my body, I didn't fuel it. So what did I do? I dropped her off at dance and I came home. I literally had about a good 30 minutes. So I know I didn't have to rush because I cannot eat. I can't eat
Yeah,
fast. I eat very slow. So I ate.
good for you.
And then I went and saw my clients. And then I was fine and way better. And I did not feel like, "Ugh."
Hmm.
Did I do? I saw a pattern. I interrupted it. And while I knew I had 30 minutes, I reminded my body, you are safe to eat. You're
Yeah.
going to replenish and you're going to leave. So that is what we mean by coaching.
And I think that simple statement of like reminding your body that it's safe is so important in so many different aspects. Like even in the chaos and stuff I was dealing with yesterday, pausing to say it's safe to feel these emotions. It's safe to feel this way. The world's not falling apart. You know what I mean? That also, like for those that are here because you're like, well, I'm dealing with a lot of health issues, you have to get to the point where your body feels safe or it's not going to heal. It
No,
just
exactly.
won't.
Exactly. Your body's not gonna heal and it needs a safe environment to heal.
Hmm.
And then we just talked about it before we hit record about the supplements and about and that's the thing, it's not just the supplements, it could be supplements, medication, drinking, gambling, shop,
Hmm.
whatever it is. We just want the quick fix. And the quick fix, I mean, sometimes it does work. Yeah, sure, it works for a short while, but it's not going to sustain because you want to live a life where you're constantly attracting the experiences that align with your soul, with who you came to be on this earth. So,
Yeah,
when you're digging deep and stuff like constantly ask yourself, what is my soul's purpose? What did I come here for? I
hmm,
didn't come here so I can, be stressed out and
and not grow. Like
and not
I came here
grow,
to grow. I
be
came here to
grumpy.
evolve.
I
Yeah,
didn't come here to be grumpy, right? And to
yeah,
cuss at people and get mad and angry and da 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 da. I
yeah.
mean, you deserve this. And like tough love here, but like you gotta look in the mirror.
You
You
do.
gotta look in the mirror. I mean, you gotta be honest with yourself and stop the excuses.
Yeah. And that's the hard one because people don't want to look in the mirror. People don't want to accept responsibility. People don't want to be fully committed. Like, it's so much easier to say, like, this is what's familiar, so I'm just going to stay there. But again, go back to what am I here for? I don't believe we were put on this planet just to go through life. You were here to thrive. You were here to grow. You're here to make a difference. Like, there's so many reasons why you could be here, but it's not just to go through the motions of life and just, okay, I came, I lived, and then I died. Like that doesn't sound exciting to me.
And then always go back to you are a human being,
Mhm.
not a human doing. And then
Yeah.
we've all become machines.
Oh yeah.
Like doings, doings, doings. And we just gotta really go back to the slowing down and to all that stuff. But it's worth it though. It's really worth it because it brings peace. This week I told you I interrupted a few patterns. There were some issues happening, and I was like, why am I these are not my problems. You all are adult. You can talk about it. I interrupted this and very calmly stated what I needed to state. Of course, I consulted with my mentors in my mind. And then, I vented, etc. Like utilize the tools of venting and throwing
Yeah.
tantrums, whatever, and like oh, screaming. But when you interrupt patterns and you act or you react or you make actions or do actions that are not related to your familiar self, you do feel the peace. So
Yeah.
if you're really craving peace and calm and tranquility and happiness,
Do something different.
do something different. Exactly. You cannot expect, it's kind of like the saying, right? Doing the same thing over and over again, expecting a different result. Like,
That's
honey,
insanity.
and that's
Hmm.
insanity. Until when?
Yeah.
Until when? So let's go back. Like I was reading in the book today I'm still not done with it. It's a big book. The Healing the Shame That Binds You.
Hmm.
And the last part is talking about sexuality, which we released an episode about that.
Hmm.
They talk about like there's this a whole lot of sections about the Greek mythologies and how they viewed sexuality and spirituality, and this shit is beautiful. I was like, wow, why have we changed this stuff and objectified it and all of like just so basically with everything, education wasn't like this, life wasn't like this, we just superpowered everything,
Hmm.
superpowered everything.
We did. We did.
Let's go back to the simplicity of the olden days.
Yeah.
I mean, with the internet, though, we can't lose the
With the
internet.
internet. And GPS, I need that too.
Yeah, no. I used to get so lost when I came to the US, and because I came in the US, it was 96, girl.
Yeah, that
And
didn't
the
exist.
phones and the things in the car, the GPS. I used to print it from MapQuest.
Oh yeah, I did
And you know what
too.
I used to do? I used to only print the one way. I'm like, hello, you need the other way to come back. Duh. And then coming back, I would always get freaking lost. Ugh. I got lost so much in San Diego to the point where I know San Diego.
Oh my gosh.
I know, I know. But anyway,
Well, so let's go back to some simple things as we close out.
yes.
When you feel like your life is in chaos, right? Because it's going to happen for an abundance of reasons. We're not even going to talk through them all. Like there are so many reasons why someone can feel overwhelmed. Life is chaos, it's burning down around you. Okay, yes, we talked about feeling the emotions, letting it be messy, whatever that looks like, coaching yourself, but don't forget the power of simple things like rest, right? Like I told Denise, I was like, I can't even think about business. And that's okay. You have to be okay with, okay, rest is the nutrient that I need most right now. Maybe you need to get outside. Maybe you need to do some grounding. There are a whole host of things you can do. Journal, I told Denise, go to a rage room and break shit.
Yeah.
Like do what you need to do, but
Or the axe
move
throwing.
some of it.
The
Yes,
axe throwing is
yes.
fun too. It's really fun. I've done it.
So accept it,
Yep.
move through some of those emotions, like get some of it physically moving, and then coach yourself. That's
Yep.
it.
And then remember, this is a season and this too shall
Mhm.
pass, right? And anything, even the happiness and the beauty is also a season because sometimes you are going to go into a chaos of
Yep.
anything, right?
Yeah, we don't
So
get to pick that.
no,
We will all have moments of chaos again.
absolutely, absolutely. It's just, how you deal with it and how you react. And like you said, use the tools. So that's why it's really important how you and I constantly practice our tools, right? We're constantly journeying, we're constantly going outside to walk, we're constantly grounding, etc. So in moments of chaos, even if we're going to forget all the tools, at least one is going to stick.
Yeah.
So that's why we're teaching you all of those tools because sometimes you can't just find them in the toolbox when you're overwhelmed, but at least you're going to find one, which
Yeah.
is and it could be a walk. It could be as simple as a quick walk outside.
Yeah. And I have one final thought on that. This
Mhm.
is why we believe it's so important to be doing these tools every day when it's not chaotic, when you're not stressed. It's like I take my daily walk, I do my drawing, I meditate, I do those. So when I do feel stressed or when life is chaotic, those tools are already in my tool belt. They were already a daily thing, so I'm going to know to use them versus someone who's like, I only, do deep breathing and get outside when I'm stressed. Well, good luck because you're probably not going to remember to do that then.
You're definitely not going to remember. And that's something, I mean, you're not going to remember. And
Hmm.
just, you just you got to do it on the daily and becomes a habit and part of
Yep.
you.
Yep.
Oh my goodness, we are nearing the end, right? So we
Yeah.
gave you a lot of tools, a lot of self-reflection, and continue looking out because I know we're not talking business right now, her and I. However, we are talking master your mind. Uh,
Woohoo.
yeah, I know we had a program. We loved it, Master Your Mind, Master Your Health. We
Mhm.
may change the name. We don't know, but we are talking about an online course based on all of the things that we've been talking about. So yeah.
Stay tuned. We will be revamping, revising, bringing that sucker back to life, new and improved in the future.
Yes, yes, with our new selves.
Yes. Well, and guys, we love reviews. We're on Apple, we're on Spotify. We would love more reviews. We would love it if you shared this podcast. Find us on Instagram. We know we're kind of slacking on there, but we will answer messages. If there are questions you have, if there are topics you want to hear about, maybe guests we can bring on, let us know. This podcast is for you guys.
Yeah, and if something resonates with you, like, oh my goodness, you hit the spot, like, yes, I'm going through this or whatever, if anything that is relatable, we would love to hear from
Mhm.
you because, we just love to hear back because, with feedback, we know what else to give you, what else you need, and, how to just continue growing as a community.
Yeah. Awesome. All right, guys. Thanks for listening. We'll see you on the next episode.